Yeah. Reamer.
Here.
Gallops.
Here.
Bernert.
Here.
Kotsky.
Here.
Sorensen.
Here.
Split.
Here.
We have a quorum.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm Reverend Karen Gigax Rodriguez from Federated Church in Green Lake and live here in Ripon. Let us join. Lord, for the gift of this day and all of the ways that you crossed our paths that we noticed and maybe we didn't, we are grateful, and we take a moment to just be in gratitude for each part of that gift. And we ask that you would bless this council as they meet this evening, bless the work that they do. Thank you for the community that they hold in their minds and hearts as they serve. We're grateful, and we offer this prayer in Jesus' name.
Thank you. All right. First off, I'd like to welcome Steve for your first meeting.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion to
approve? Which agenda?
The amended agenda?
Oh, yes, the amended agenda.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Terry, seconded by Doug. Sorry, Jonathan. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the amended agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? As approved. No one has signed up for public comment. Is there a motion to approve the informal reports from standing committee and staff as published?
Motion to approve.
I got Jonathan for the motion.
Okay, second.
And John for the second. Any discussion, or would anyone like to discuss one of the reports?
Report of the financial report.
Public Works and Financial?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was reading the Public Works, and they were talking about the Toro mower having a cylinder issue or something. I'd like to know if that's kind of end of life, or we're going to be able to find that part that Toro couldn't, and what are we planning on doing with that?
So the part has been on order. They have searched around for the part and are working with the implement to find the part to repair everything. We would envision it being here in the next 2 months, I believe, is what Alan is anticipating, maybe longer. So not needing to replace it, the full piece of equipment, it just is waiting for the part.
Okay. All right. Then I had a couple of questions about the financial report. I think I know what the answer to this is, but on the check register, first page, where money's going out to Amazon Capital Services. Can you explain to us what that is about?
Amazon Capital Services is Amazon, so we have a account that every department links to, library, administration, police, public works, utilities. Everybody has access to that account, and they make orders off of Amazon for anything and everything that comes up.
Okay, that's what I thought it was, but I wanted to make sure.
Mostly a lot of cleaning supplies, and then also the library has used Amazon quite a bit more since they've gotten rid of some of their practices with buying from vendors that we don't have accounts with. So library spending has gone, a lot of books and movies and things of that nature get bought through Amazon at the library now.
Okay, thank you, Adam. I have nothing further.
Excuse me, with regards to the hydraulic cylinder on that Toro, being in an industry that we use a lot of hydraulic cylinders, we've had a lot of good luck having them rebuilt and refurbished. So I don't see that big of an issue if we have to consider that option.
Anyone else have comments or questions on the reports? All right. All those in favor of approving the informal reports from standing committee and staff, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those are approved. Next is the consent calendar. Item on there is common council minutes from 3 meetings. Is there a motion to approve as published?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Been moved by David, seconded by John. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the consent calendar say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. All right, time is now 7:10. I will open the public hearing for the proposed City of Ripon 2024 budget and tax levy. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this?
No one registered to speak.
No one registered to speak? Well, we'll use a little bit of this time if you want to go over any of the small changes since the last presentation. At this point, there were a couple very minor things, I believe. You need the screens?
I'll need the screens, I think. I'll just go into a brief presentation. Hopefully this works. Ha. All right, so this is the required public hearing for the 2024 City of Ripon budget. The summary budget was published in the paper. The time for the public hearing was issued in that public notice. The budget can change up until this tonight. You can pass the budget tonight by passing the resolution or change it, whatever the council so tax rate and tax levy and mill rate. We are looking at a total allowable levy of $3.932 million. Of that levy, debt budget is $3.846 million. So 20% to debt, 11 to 12% to the library, 68% to general fund. As you can see, the total allowable levy is higher than the levy we are leaving. That unused levy, that is a direct result in trying to keep a mill rate or the tax rate to a minimal increase. Is an estimated mill rate. The mill rate calculation is determined by mostly a whole calculation, but at the end of it, there is what's called a statement of assessment or your full assessed value. Due to a challenge by one entity and the Department of Revenue's process to get us the statement of assessment, we do not have a firm statement of assessment to calculate a final mill rate. We had talked previously about keeping the mill rate between $8.90 and $9. We have estimated with our assessors that the mill rate calculation is that we have here is based off of an estimate from our assessors, at $498 million. That's about a $3 to $4 million increase of assessed value from the previous year. That equates to an estimated mill rate of $8.95, or about 5 cents per thousand increase, which on a $200,000 home is $10.19. If you can see toward the bottom, I just did a little comparison between the 2 years. Debt has increased by about $55,000. Library has increased by about $4,000, and the general fund allocation has decreased by $32,000. So overall, the levy amount overall has increased by $27,000, the majority of which is in paying debt service. Okay? So the biggest thing tonight, if you pass the budget, there's an estimated mill rate of $8.95. That could go up within a few pennies if there is a change in the statement of assessment. We believe that it will stay hold at around $498,000 to $500,000, so the mill rate could drop a little bit more. But I would anticipate, just doing rough calculations with Finance Director Tony, we've done multiple calculations. We don't anticipate it at the worst case scenario, it could go to $8.97, but we can't say that with 100% certainty. So the assessed value and the challenge by the industrial entity, which the Department of Revenue assesses for that, the city. But ultimately, we anticipate a mill rate of $8.95 within a few pennies. Any questions? So total budget revenues for the year. Debt service, capital projects, enterprise funds is around $17,788,000. So the largest component of that is going to be general fund, followed by capital improvement, which includes all of which are the library and enterprise funds are actually going to be our water and wastewater, and then followed by special revenue funds, which is going to be library, EMS, so on and so forth. So about almost $18 million budget. In terms of expenditures, there's $17,853,000 in expenditures. We tried to break this down to give a more thorough breakdown, although it's small, so I apologize, but a more thorough breakdown of where the expenditures are occurring. So as you can see there's water, sewer at 1.6 and 1.487 million. The TIF districts is around 2.8 million. And then is 2.3. Department of Public Works and Police are about 2.3 million. And then you see in there, debt service at 776,000, library at 674,000, recycling 160, taxi 416. And we break it down within the general fund as well then too. So cable TV, parks and recreation, building inspection, fire, police, city administrative services, elections, TIF districts, followed by water and sewer, and then EMS, debt service, and then library. So that just kind of gives you a full picture of where all of the dollars are being allocated in certain categories. In terms of general fund specific, there's total revenues totaling $6.443 million. Based on the previous screen, you should surmise that the majority of those dollars are going to go toward, sorry, this is revenues, I apologize. So it's revenues 6.443 million. That's an increase of about 10.23% or $597,000 from the previous year. The majority of that is due to shared revenue increases from the state of Wisconsin. Ultimately, property tax and shared revenue equate to 86% of general fund revenues. In terms of expenditures, we have an increase of about 7.66% or $451,000 in expenditures. You can see there too, based on the other screen about expenditures, general fund, the two heavy expenditures in the general fund are going to be public works and police, public safety. So that equates about 73% or whatever the math accounts to. So the rest of it then is the other legislative, city attorney, administration, elections, parks and rec, so on and so forth. So majority of the funds go to those two departments. In terms of major priorities and projects, we are investing in capital projects for the year in infrastructure. So we have St. Wenceslas street reconstruction in the capital improvement plan. We have TID 10, which has a few smaller paving projects that we would like to accomplish outside of the half-mile radius. We have the water tower reconditioning, SCADA system upgrades, and street light reconditioning projects. For parks, we have Selfridge Park project. For housing, we have $150,000 allocated from the housing fund to promote housing development within the community. Equipment, we are replacing a very old street sweeper. We have a police squad, lease payments for our trucks, emergency siren replacement, from removals and planting. Planning, we have dollars in the budget to review the housing study, do some infrastructure planning, and also revisit some of our strategic planning with Allison Burnett if we so choose. Economic development, we'd like to create the CDA with some funding that's in the budget. Utilities, there is a water rate increase proposed in the budget that is being worked on. The PSC sets those rates, but ultimately that process is ongoing. Wages and benefits in the budget, there's a reduction in health insurance costs for the city. We have included the Ripon professional police agreement wage increases as well as pay for performance to give some perspective to what wages the city is paying. The average hourly rate for a police officer in the 2024 budget is $35.91. The average pay rate, hourly rate for an hourly employee in public works, including plow truck drivers, wastewater, and water operators, is $28.85. Okay? I think most
Can you
important.
compare that to the past? That's an increase, correct? Or
Well, the Ripon police agreement certainly is an increase. $28.85 in public works as an average rate is, I think it speaks for itself in terms of how we are paying our employees. Talk about a lot, but that's where we're at. So just from perspective of the council, what is the average pay that we're paying? Those are the numbers. So that's what's in the budget. So.
well, thank you. I think it's good we keep good people here. That's why I ask.
Ultimately, too, this budget maintains or expands all city services. There's not a cut in a service. There is not a cut in a program. There is expansion of programs and a maintenance of our existing programming. City planning in the budget. This budget addresses projects and priorities in our Parks and Recreation Management Plan, infrastructure planning, our water master plan, urban forestry master plan, our housing study, economic development planning, facility master plan. It addresses components of our comprehensive plan, including housing, transportation, utilities, and community facilities, natural resources, cultural resources, economic development, land use, and it also implements our employee handbook and pay plan as approved by the council. So certainly this is just a non-specific list, but for example, housing study, there's dollars in there to directly correlate to the recent housing study we did. Water master plan, we passed that, approved that a couple years ago. There's dollars in there to recondition the water tank. So ultimately, what the point of this is a lot of what we've been planning and a lot of what we have been working on over the past few years, we are putting in action in the budget with projects and with funding. The final changes in the budget, if you have the budget document with you, there were a few minor changes that we have made on some corrections. The first is just kind of a balancing on page 1 of the budget where the transfer to capital in the middle of the page was $90,000. So that was changed just to reflect the balancing of the budget. So that $90,000 is out of the general fund and into capital to help fund some of those capital projects we have in the budget. In terms of additional changes, there was a correction in one area on page actually 32. We won't go there quite yet, but that opened up some extra dollars. So part of those went into city administration, city administrative services on page 13. City improvement and planning was moved from $25,000 to $28,303. So that reflects the capital, the infrastructure planning, the housing study revisit, as well as strategic planning with Allison. Page 14, we put in other contractual services in the animal control division. We moved $300 for deer control from city administration to animal control. Sorry, Bill, you now gotta deal with the deer too. But we just felt that it was not in the appropriate place, so we just moved it. Page 24, we increased the forestry removals from 50,000 to 55,000. Again, a part of the urban forestry master plan to incorporate more removals in of ash trees and others. The other change would be on page 32. There was on Parks and Rec utility services. There was discussion about why the utility bills were so high at the new senior activity center. There was a discrepancy in the line bills that were billing the library energy costs into that bill. So we reviewed that, and it cut that budget by around $8,000. So that opened up some dollars to go toward the forestry and the planning. Page 42, there is a reallocation of funds toward Envision Greater Fond du Lac, totaling $6,500. After talking that over with individuals in Envision Greater Fond du Lac, there's just a recommendation to move that to $6,500. So then there's corresponding changes in community improvement, streetscape, and holiday decorations, as well as community development authority. Finally, page 49 is the capital improvement. Capital improvements balanced out, so you can see that previously there were some dollars that were unallocated. We have allocated those into a grant project at Selfridge Park for the playground, as well as just getting everything else hammered out for St. Wenceslas, the water tower, SCADA upgrades, and Selfridge Park. So that just balanced out. That is my report on the budget.
All right. So we're technically still in the public hearing phase. Just one call, if there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak on the budget, this would be the time. All right. In that case, at 7:28, I will close the public hearing. And we will move into our first agenda item, which is adopting the budget. If there's any questions, comments, or motions to accept the resolution, now's the time. Doug?
I'll make a motion to accept the budget of City of Ripon 2024 budget and tax levy.
I will second.
And that is to accept the resolution.
Yes.
All right. So that's moved by Doug. Who's the second? And David. All right. That in my stack. Here, a moment. There it is. Any discussion on the budget resolution?
I'd like to say thank you to all staff that really worked hard on this. Many conversations were had. And also thank you to, again, all those, and especially Adam, who took our considerations, took a look at. I think it's very creative to look back at how we can look at economic development locally, but also continue our support of Envision Greater Fond du Lac, so that we continue to support across this county the work that's being done. So it seems like a budget. Unfortunately, I know costs have to go up for our citizens, but as we've seen in the past, that hopefully incrementally as we go up, there's not going to be, surprises of a large increase, little by little. It seems like a smart budget.
Anyone else? Hearing none, can we have a roll call vote, please, Adam?
Oh. Iverson,
Yes.
Schatzinger,
Yes.
Reamer,
Yes.
Gallops,
Yes.
Brunert,
Yes.
Gotsky,
Yes.
Sorensen,
Yes.
Split,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item is a resolution establishing the City of Ripon's fee schedule for 2024. Questions, comments, or motions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Give it to Steve. So motion by John, seconded by Steve. Sorry, Doug.
That's okay.
Any discussion on the fee schedule? Hearing none. Another roll call vote, please. Adam?
Split,
Yes.
Sorensen,
Yes.
Gotsky,
Yes.
Brunert,
Yes.
Gallops,
Yes.
Reamer,
Yes.
Schatzinger,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right. Next item is the resolution for writing off uncollectible ambulance bills. We're still working through the old bills that are uncollectible here. This one is in the amount of $29,212.48.
Excuse me, what is the statute of limitations on an item like this?
It's about 5 years,
thank
6 years. So, yeah, just to give an update on everything. So we have been with LifeQuest billing for approximately 2 years. We have worked through all outstanding bills that were being collected by our internal billing department and forwarded those to LifeQuest for further collection, okay? So some certainty this could and should be the last write-off of accounts that have been worked internally by the city collection department. A lot of these have met the statute of limitations or the individual has deceased. So some of the ones that are more recent than 2017, you see a couple deceased, no estate. So we weren't going to turn those over to LifeQuest to try to collect. But there was approximately an additional $258,000 that was forwarded to LifeQuest in the last 2 months to collect. That was outstanding. So, so this is sort of the ones that are hanging out there that we did not forward to LifeQuest for the statute of limitations or deceased primarily.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve writing off the uncollectible ambulance bills.
I will second.
And moved by David, seconded by Terry. Discussion? Dylan?
Just a question, is there a reason why the ones that list a statute of limitations expired, why we also don't keep who that was for? is there anything legally privacy-wise or?
This HIPAA, so, and it's just, like, why like, what is your question? Sorry?
Well, I guess some of these say where, I see, I mean, some of these do say where the photos are from, but I guess, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't realize that, I assume that maybe some of them had where that was, but I guess we don't ever publicize that, you're right, for HIPAA reasons.
Yeah, we don't, yeah. Can't.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, another roll call vote, please, Adam.
Gallops.
Yes.
Grunert.
Yes.
Gotsky.
Yes.
Sorensen.
Yes.
Split.
Yes.
Iverson.
Yes.
Schatzinger.
Yes.
Reamer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
That handy.
I keep switching it up.
All right, next item is an ordinance to amend section 18.32.030, construction requirements of the municipal code for private swimming pools. Adam, do you want to give a quick summary on this one again?
So we had, I believe, what did we do at one of the meetings? We had not acted on it, so postponed it. So we had since done some research. We shared some information with the council regarding what is a ASTM F1346-91 specific powered lockable pool cover. So hopefully you all kind of saw that in the video. And then we did some additional research from other communities to determine what is ultimately, from a safety perspective, the most strict use of a powered pool cover, and that is a pool cover with a subsurface disturbance sensor alarm. So the concept there is that you read this, if you want to have a powered lockable pool cover without a fence, you also need a subsurface alarm. So if you were to leave that area and someone were to jump in the pool without you there and that alarm were on, the alarm would go off inside of your house, or it would sound an alarm. So if a child or someone ran in, a dog jumped in, it would set an alarm off, okay? So that is ultimately the safest example that we found out there in terms of other communities. You can see there's other rules about security in there, but this would be, in talking to Attorney Wirtz, who is absent tonight, but in talking through it with him, he felt in terms of overall approach, this was the safest, best option. So we just wanted to bring it back for the council as it was postponed. And you can take the suggestion with the pool cover with the subsurface disturbance sensor alarm, or you can decide not to. So up to you.
Can you remind me, this was brought forward to us because there's a citizen that wants to do this, right? Wants to have a pool cover without a fence. And so that's why we're discussing it. It was specifically requested from a citizen, correct?
So there was a variance issued by the Zoning Board of Appeals for a lockable power safety cover. And the Zoning Board of Appeals said, we would recommend the ordinance be reviewed to reflect the ability to have this. What this sets is a standard of not just the lockable pool cover, but the subsurface alarm. So there will be one pool cover out there that is not required to have a subsurface alarm. Anyone moving forward that wants to have this would have to follow this, or could follow this ordinance in lieu of putting up a fence.
But if I recall correctly, when the pool cover is extended and locked, it can hold a significant amount of weight, like 1 to 2 people, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, that's the powered pool cover, yep. Yep, this kind, yes.
So, I mean, realistically, I'm fairly comfortable without, but I really like the idea of the subsurface disturbance sensor. So, I mean, it seems like the smarter way to go.
Any further discussion or motions?
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Then moved by Terry, seconded by Jolene. Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Oh, let's see here. Gotsky,
Yes.
Sorensen,
Yes.
Split,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Schatzinger,
Yes.
Reamer,
Yes.
Gallops,
Yes.
Grunert.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Next item is ordinance to amend section 6.34.030C, surface requirement for outdoor service areas. This is in regard to outdoor cafe type or beer garden type establishments. Let's see, wrong page. The right one. So this is a minor change to the current wording of the ordinance. Basically the second sentence there in section C just gives more flexibility to what are allowed surfaces with approval. Before it was very strict, basically leading towards concrete was your only option. This allows for other surfaces that are basically impenetrable and patrons aren't going to roll ankles and easy to clean type. Where this wording allows more flexibility while still maintaining those key points.
I'll make a motion to approve to amend the ordinance 6.34030 of the municipal code.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Then moved by David, seconded by Doug. Any discussion?
Can you remind me, explaining the premises shall be completely surrounded?
That's currently how that's in the current wording, so that
I
part's not changing.
I understand that, but I guess because I don't remember discussing this specifically, so it probably was just, but I think of, for example, some of our, like, I think of the parklet, right?
So this is going to be your private property outdoor service beer garden area. So the areas that this currently would apply to is like Jay's Barbecue, where they have it on private property, Pastimes,
Fox and Crow.
Fox and Crow, the side area there, Knuth Brewing Company, their side area.
On their new place.
On the new place. So it does not extend onto the sidewalk or the parklet. This is for private property. And it really just provides a little more flexibility for putting a alternative solid surface, maybe allowing a little more creativity or flexibility, but also defining, saying, you know, we don't want gravel or some sort of loose material that's going to cause dust or other, you know, issues. So it just, I think, provides a little more flexibility for construction. And those come to the council and get reviewed by the council and approved as part of the whole liquor licensing process.
So for example, if someone were going to use like a compact shale stone that is sturdy, doesn't kick up dust or anything like that, that would likely be something that the council would be likely to approve. A pea gravel where it's loose and always gives you a chance to roll an ankle would probably be something the council should not approve. But it, like I said, it gives more flexibility for different types of surfaces as opposed to just a hard concrete.
And does completely surrounded leave room for, obviously, a gate?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the whole, concept really. I mean, the gate, you want to have an enclosed area. So your traditional beer gardens, I think this has evolved over time where beer gardens used to be completely surrounded, 6 feet height. You couldn't have a fence that you could, pass things through. It's been relaxed over time, just mostly because of aesthetics and having an outdoor dining experience, particularly in the last couple of years. But overall, we want to completely surround it, just to define those areas, and people aren't just walking around aimlessly while intoxicated or otherwise, so.
Any further questions, comments, or discussion?
The gates, the fences and stuff are gonna have gates that are emergency accessible,
Yeah, yep.
just in case somebody has a problem. Okay.
It used to be that you couldn't have any way out.
Well, no, sometimes somebody will have a narrow gate.
Yeah.
And you can't take a stretcher through or.
And like Adam said, all the permits for these come to the council for review.
Good.
So if there's someone that has a 2-foot gate on their plan, we could request they increase it to a 3 or 4.
Good.
So it always comes before the council. Further questions, discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Reamer,
Yes.
Gallows,
Yes.
Grunert,
Yes.
Gotsky,
Yes.
Sorensen,
Yes.
Split,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Schatzinger.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item is pay application number 4 for the State Street project. This is going to RLAM for $207,787.76.
This was the amended item.
And this is not the last pay application?
Nope. They just paved it yesterday and today, I believe, so that'll come next, but.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the pay application?
I'll move to approve pay application number 4.
I'll second it.
Been moved by Jonathan, seconded by Doug. Any discussion?
Just one quick question.
Yes.
I know this, I believe the same company that paved State Street also repaired Griswold. Is that going to be added to the State Street project, or is it separate?
Separate.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving pay application number 4, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. All right, last discussion item is the Assistant Director of Public Works recruitment proposal.
So just to give you an update from my reporting on here, we did post the Assistant Director position. We received minimal interest, held interviews, and came to the conclusion that we wanted to repost the position. In doing so, we reached out to GovHR, who we have used for previous recruitments, as well as PAA, who we have used for previous recruitments. You have a proposal from GovHR. They were able to get us a submittal here. So a recruitment fee of $4,500 with advertising, so about $6,500 to do a recruitment for the position. I wanted to bring it forward as an option. We can certainly repost without the assistance of a recruiting firm. However, the candidate pool and the reach of our previous efforts was not, I think, what we would have hoped. And it resulted in us needing to go back out into the candidate, to try to get a few more candidates to apply. I've spoke with GovHR. This is sort of their light recruitment. It can obviously get far more expensive, but this is sort of a, they do all the advertising, leads, push the position out there, and then they, after that effort, we take it over from there. The salary range for the position appears to be appropriate for the region. I feel part of it is just getting more outreach and getting the position in front of people in a very, very competitive and difficult hiring environment.
Discussion?
Typically with using recruiting firms, you pay annually for if they help us get a candidate. Is that going to be one of those situations with this company or not?
Annually, as in?
An incentive for finding us a candidate?
Oh, no.
Okay.
So this is just a, more or less it's more of a headhunter than a staffing or they go out, they find applicants, they give them to us. They use their networks that they have to try to get applicants. We've had success with GovHR. We were able to hire Naomi through a city clerk recruitment with them. And once the process is done, they bill us and it's done.
Okay.
I guess I'll just add, I mean, alternatively, you put $6,500 towards, upping the salary, but I don't think that anyone that would see an extra $6,500 who would have saw it before would think suddenly, now that's gonna be what set me over the edge. So I think it's a smart idea to utilize their network and to get a good candidate that this city deserves. So it seems like it's right in line.
And with his example of hiring Naomi, I doubt that she would have seen our posting. She came from Indiana. I don't think we would have found her just off of a local post.
Our success story.
I mean, it's a hard market for these types of positions. Frankly, we probably should look at doing executive recruitments for all department head positions moving forward. It's probably something we should build in. We tried, because we had done it in the past this way with this particular position. It's harder than it was 2 years ago.
And money is coming from?
The utilities. Yeah.
Did they guarantee how many applicants they would get?
No.
Okay, well, I'm just wondering, we shell out the 6,500 and they say, well, we didn't get it.
If we get 10 people to apply for this position, we should be thrilled.
And did you get some earlier?
We had 4.
4, okay. So we should get, at least for this money, we should get 4, like you say, 10 would be great, but.
So in talking to GovHR, they're not pushing forward a full-blown recruitment for, $12,000, $15,000, right? Because they understand the climate as well. They're not going to want to, they don't want to put a bad taste in our mouth by charging a bunch of money and then turning over 5 applicants, right? So they know what they're getting into. This is what they do every day. Ultimately they can't guarantee that we're going to get 10 applicants, but in positions similar to this, they are getting 10 to 20 applicants, and we weren't able to get that in our recruitment process. Is it worth, all you need is one. You just need the right one, so.
I'll make a motion to hire GovHR at a cost not to exceed $6,500.
I'll second that, which is what I was going for.
Motion by Dave, second by Doug. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of using GovHR for the recruitment process not to exceed $6,500, say aye.
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 Opposed? That is approved. All right, project updates and staff reports. Let's see, finance, you have anything for us?
I don't know.
Okay. Police? Naomi?
I will have election paperwork ready on December 1st. So if anybody wants to stop in and see me, I've actually got everybody who's on council that is running this year, excuse me, got chewed up over here. Everybody that's running, I actually have the paperwork already ready on my desk. I just can't release that until December 1st. Okay?
Thank you.
Just for my report, so Allison Burnett will join us at the next meeting to go over the final report and mission, vision, values statement. We have submitted 2 grant applications, one for the local road improvement program for a 2025 grant cycle for Houston Street, as well as I did finish up submitting the 2024 Section 53 taxi grant application. That's it.
Thank you.
Any questions, let me know.
I think Jolene has one.
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask, back to, staff reports, people in the city, of course, thank you for putting up on Facebook, because if you're doing that, where the leaf pickup is going and the progress. I think I saw that they went around 4 times, at least 3 times. Can you remind us, and do we know how long they're going to continue? Is it until the snowfall, until they have to change the trucks?
So I would assume, or just in talking to Alan, we'll go this week into next week, but it's going to be weather dependent, obviously. We may take some of the trucks, instead of 3, we may take it down to 1 or 2 and convert the others over to plow trucks. So, we'll continue to go around. If your leaves don't get collected, certainly if you have the means to take them to the dump, we would encourage that, but we are still out actively collecting for at least the short term here, so.
And the dump is open until?
Tuesdays and Saturdays.
But it closes too, doesn't it, at some point?
What's that?
Doesn't it close too at some point in the winter?
Yeah, I don't know.
It goes down to one
day a week
Yeah.
on Saturdays
Okay.
upcoming, so. It's all online, I'm sorry, I don't have it in
No, I
front of
agree.
me.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Adam? All right. I have a couple of appointments. First one would be for moving Steve Reamer from his citizen position to a council position on the Historic Preservation Commission. He would be taking David's spot, and he would come off.
Motion to approve.
Second.
And moved by John, seconded by Doug. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I have to abstain.
What's that?
I have to abstain.
You don't have to, but you
Well,
certainly
okay.
can. Always vote for yourself. All right, next appointment would be moving Dave onto the Parks and Rec Commission, or committee.
Move to approve.
I'll second it.
Been moved by Jonathan, seconded by Doug. Any discussion there? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Abstain.
One abstention. Thank you very much. Any future agenda items or comments from council? Hearing none, I will now seek a motion to adjourn to closed session under Wisconsin statutes 19.851C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility to review city administrator's annual performance evaluation, as well as reviewing and approving the closed session minutes from August 8th's meeting. Would anyone like to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Doug. All those in favor of adjourning to closed session, say aye.
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 Opposed? We will adjourn to closed session. The time is now 8 PM, and we'll take a quick 5-minute break and come back.